I started the store, and believe it or not, in my parents' front porch of their house. It lasted there about 2 months because business unbelievably was busy. I was drawing people from Erie, Pittsburgh, all over the area coming, so I had to move into the town rather quickly. So I moved in here. It was around, I think it was October of '85, and it has been in this location since.
Growing up in a video store, I think I think it helped give me like a lot of culture, I guess, maybe that like a lot of my friends didn't. You know, I'd talk about movies in school and stuff, and like no one knew what the hell I'm talking about. And, you know, they're not even necessarily uncommon, you know, oddities or anything. Just something like, you know, I couldn't go to school and talk to anyone about like Clerks or like something weird like Chud or Basket Case or anything like that. You know, people pretty much just like, if Michael Bay didn't make it, they probably didn't know what it was.
Brooke, at a very, very young age, and I'm going to say about 3 years old, loved movies. He watched them nonstop, and I always believe in, yeah, you don't hand anybody anything, you make them work for it, and so it was a nice, easy job for Brooke to enjoy watching movies and interacting with the people. So he was he was working, but to him, I think it was more play than work.
Well, first off, I'll show you our porn collection here. When I started working here when I was about 13 years old, the business was already on a decline. You know, I don't remember how much we're making. Obviously, it was doing fine and it was profitable. And at that time, the big thing for us to make money was a bunch of, you know, we'd always just have these horny old men come in, and I'd always glance as a 13-year-old just to see what they're doing. Like, for whatever reason, like the things that always seemed to rent a lot were like a lot of like porn about like black dicks. We've got Black Booty number 1, Black Booty number 2, Black Booty number 3.
I was offered on more than one occasion video rentals for some favors. Not me giving the favors.
I remember one day I was working, and I was just standing at the counter. All of a sudden, I hear someone they run through and they fucking throw the DVD at me, and then they're like, "I didn't do it," and they left. And I'm looking at it, and there's like dog bites on this case or something like that, and I didn't even get their name. I don't know who it was.
How many rentals do I get? Per day, I am honestly 5 a day. Weekends, you know, we can double that depending on the weather, how everything goes. So we're talking roughly about 25 to 30 movie rentals a week. For the year, you're talking probably around 400, 500. Rather terrible numbers.
The movies that are still renting are pretty much super A, like super big A movies, you know, like Transformers. That rented out a lot.
Yeah, good sci-fi still carry a good audience.
Westerns rent like a ton. This, Cold Day in Hell, you ever hear of it? I haven't heard of it. I don't even, who is Michael Madsen? I don't know him off the top of my head. But Cold Day in Hell, it doesn't matter. It's probably a terrible movie. But you know how much I've rented this out? I don't know. And then I've even re-rented it to people because it's a Western.
Comedies always remain popular. Adam Sandler is at the top of his game. He's pretty much, I would say right now, the #1.
This movie is going to rent really well. You want to know why? Because that's Adam Sandler. For whatever reason, anything in this town that has Adam Sandler is a huge success.
Adam Sandler, to me, is probably the funniest actor ever.
I don't know why. It's always rent. And even when he's not in it, if it's a movie he produced, it seems to rent. But then you have movies that have no chance at being successful, which is Slam and Salmon. I've never, ever, ever rented this out. No one's touched it. This was just a waste of time for everybody. Slam and Salmon. Okay, this is the store currently as it is, which is really just this corner of the left half of the building, which probably makes up like, oh wow, I don't even think this is like 1/4. At one time, the video store itself probably, well, just even like talking like, I guess 10 years back, the video store would have taken up this entire side, which I'll show you the rest of it. Now we are into the hair salon, which the hair salon we put in here when I was, it was been a senior in high school, so it's been here for about 4 years, but it just switched ownership, and it looks really nice now. At one point in time, like I said, about 10 years ago, this was filled with movies, this whole side, and I guess you could say even before the fire, the video store was even bigger.
The fire started, it was electrical fire. It was on January 3rd of 2001. It was approximately around 9 o'clock. I was here and actually smelled the smoke. By the time I reached for my phone to call 911, the phone was already dead. The fire was burning in the upper attic of the building. By the time the fire department got here, which was about 20 minutes later, there was no visible flames. Everything looked like it was going to be okay until a couple firemen thought they were pretty intelligent and decided to break all the windows to give it air. And from that point on, total devastation. It was a 100% loss. There was not one thing in the building salvageable, not one tape, not absolutely nothing. I had an inventory at the time, it was approaching close to 20,000 different movies. There was no way that you could humanly replace that anymore. So when it reopened, the store size was down to about 1,000 movies.
I think Netflix was really like the first really, really big nail in the coffin for this place. Because once it hit, the customer base went down. Or even then, some people, like when they get mad and you go, well, you got a late fee, and they give you their bullshit excuse as to why they shouldn't have one. You go, no, you've got one, you've got a $5 late fee, and then they'll just go, well, I'll go to Netflix or something, So any other person, they probably would have closed the doors in this place probably like 3 years ago, maybe 2. And, but it means a lot to him.
This is my baby. It really isn't very profitable at all anymore, but it's still serving a purpose. It's breaking even, to say about the best.
I've gotten to the point where I really don't like being here. I get annoyed by the people that come in and rent, because I don't know, because most people come in here are either, 50-year-old drunks or, very religious and families that are just all all they want is some not so great kids movie perhaps. But I've also grown up here, and I have a lot of nostalgia for the store in general. I would spend so many days here growing up, in the store, and it's gonna be sad when it's gone. Yeah, I'll be sad.
Do I think the store will close? Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it will here eventually. As each year goes by, it gets worse, and it's just not going to be a need for it anymore. Oh, it'll be sad because it's something I've been doing for close to 30 years. So it has it's a big part of me. So it's kind of like, the best way I could describe it is like losing a kid.